Hello and welcome to another Michael Allar tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be going over on how to show health of our current player to the HUD. That way our player knows how much health they have. And this is going to be pretty important when we do later testing, when we start doing more weapon implementation. Because right now we already have multiplayer working and our weapons doing damage, but we can't tell how much damage we're doing without any HUD indication. So we're going to go ahead and draw the health to the screen. So right now what we should have at the beginning of this tutorial, we should have some code that compiles clean, 0 errors, 0 warnings, and if we launch our game, it will look something like this, and it's just ammo count on the right side. If you follow the last tutorial about how to make ammo to the right and how to offset text, we're going to be using some of that same functionality in order to draw our HUD, or to draw our health icon. So, go ahead and open up my code here, and I'm just going to go right into it this time, and it's going to be very similar to what Epic does, but our own style, I guess you can say. Alright, so we already have some variables here that control ammo HUD placement, such as show ammo toggles whether to show ammo or not, ammo position, ammo text offset, ammo BG chords. All that stuff is used for drawing the ammo. We've already been through all that, but we need to draw the health. So I'm going to go ahead and create two more variables here called health position and health text offset. And right over here where text coordinates is, I'm going to add health BG coordinates. It just makes sense to declare these all at the same time in the general area because they're both kind of very similar. And for next to show ammo, I'm going to go ahead and do show health in case our end player doesn't want to show their health for whatever reason. Make sure they're all all hardcore and I don't need no HUD. Anyways, now that we have those variables declared, you can go ahead and jump down to let's just go to our function we already have, which is our draw or display ammo function. And this works, it displays ammo. We've already been over this in the last tutorial, and so why not use it again? So I'm going to go ahead and copy this entire function. I'm going to go ahead and paste it right above it. And I'm just going to change display ammo to display health. And I'm going to get rid of this. And before I even do anything, I'm just going to go in and replace every instance with ammo with health, because that's what we're working on, right? So we'll go ahead and select all this, and if you have a editor that supports replace in selection, this is a really good time to use it, because you can go search, replace, and replace, text define, just clear that out and type in ammo, and replace with health, and there should be somewhere in your text editor that's just selected only. If not, I recommend getting a different text editor, and go ahead and click replace all. And yes to all. And what that will do is, only in your selection, it will replace ammo with health. See, our display ammo is unaffected, but our display health function is now completely changed. Now we'll have to go back and fix some of the things that will break, but because we named our variables the same at the top, except we just switched out ammo for health, all of our references will still work. So that's pretty cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and, let's just go through this code and fix what we have. So, figure out if we should be pulsing. I don't know why that's there. Alright, so that's probably in the other ammo function too. Yeah, that shouldn't be there. Go ahead and save that. Alright, so, now that we resolve our HUD position just like normal, based on our health position. Now health count, that's getting our health. However, our weapon, we already removed the reference to our weapon because we're not dealing with the weapon. So, first of all, anything dealing with the weapon needs to be taken out. Second, get health count is a function that does not exist anywhere, so why that's not right. Now, where health is stored is in our pawns class. Yeah, in our pawn class, and that's there's a health variable declared in pawn, right in the straight up class pawn, not even in game pawn or UDK pawn or UT pawn. It's right up in pawn, and you can go ahead and search for health under pawn categorized variables. We have health and health max. Now, luckily for us, this health variable is automatically replicated through all our client and stuff, and we don't have to worry about sending that health variable to all our clients just to update our HUD. It's already done for us. So we're going to just use this health variable right off of our pawn. So now to do that, if you remember from way back in the tutorial series, we have a variable up here at the top that says pawn owner, and that's our current pawn owner. We also have HT pawn owner, but that comment is not right. Change to HT pawn. Alright, so yeah, we have an HT pawn up here. But because health is declared all the way up in pawn, we can go ahead and use our pawn class. That way we still kind of have our generic usage that applies to any pawn. And we only want to reference HT pawn when we need HT pawn only functionality. Because of that, we can, if we manage to keep that up, if we were ever to use this HUD class for another project that uses completely different pawns, we can still have all our base functionality for our original pawn class. So go back down to draw health, and in order to reference our health thing, our variable is called pawn owner, and that's when we're the owner of our HUD. And we put a dot there to access a member of pawn owner. And if you're using some sort of editor with some sort of intelligence or auto completion, you can either type in health, or you can look in here and look for health. And this list is really long, but there's health right there. Double click it, there you go, it's health. Or you can just type in .health. Either way, as long as it's pawn owner.health, you're good to go. Alright, so with that there, health count is kind of a dumb variable name, but I'm going to leave it there just because it matches ammo. But that assigns our health to health count, and then we convert health count into a string, put in an ammo. The reason why I don't do this directly is later on in the tutorial series, I'm going to be going over on how to do some weird, or not weird, but how to do some color effects and how to do some different things based on the HUD, based on how much health you have. So it's good to have an integer we can work with later on. Alright, so with that there, I want to change the jar color to white, just like normal. Text size. Now, text size, if you remember from the last discussion about resolution scale-based text, the text size is only used for right aligning. Now, I know in my project, I'm not going to be right aligning my health text at all, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. However, if you are right aligning, you can go ahead and keep all of this. The reason why I'm just getting rid of this is just so that it's 2 less function calls and 1 less, or a few less calculations it has to do per frame every time it draws the HUD. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And because I delete that, I'm not going to be using TX2Y, so I'm going to delete that too. And that means our resolve HUD offset, I can go ahead and delete these last two, and it'll still call our correct function because in the last tutorial we went over on what are optional variables and how we can use them to make code cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that, and our code will still work. It just it will not have the ability to right align, and that's fine with me. So with that being said, we calculate our HUD offset just like we did before. We set our position to our HUD offset, and we draw our text. And so that's all there is to it. So with that there, all we have to do is we have to initialize our variables that we create at the top that control HUD coordinates, bshow health, and help text offset. So I'm going to go back down to the bottom, or under default properties block. We'll go ahead and just copy these 3 lines here that we have for ammo. Go ahead and paste them. And just because I'm lazy, I'm just going to go ahead and do another replace and type ammo. And health is already there for me, so I'm going to go ahead and OK, all, and replace this health in those 3. I could have just typed it in myself, but sometimes we get tired of typing, right? Alright, so for health position, I want this to be on the left side of the screen, so I'm going to change X to 0. However, I still want it bottom aligned with the bottom, so I'm going to change that to, I'm going to keep Y equals -1. Now health text offset, this is a little bit different because we're drawing, because our now drawing position is on the far left edge of the screen, we need to shift it to the right. In order to do that, first thing we do is we keep our X positive. Now, realize that because our health image is, mine is 80 pixels wide, the minimum you're going to have to do to shift it over to the right and not overlay it on top of our image is 80 pixels. Now the reason why this is so different compared to last time is because when you right align something, we already adjust for the width, and the width is pretty big. But because we're left aligning something, or we're offsetting it to the right, we have to adjust it a lot more in order to get it off our image. So that's kind of how that works. And so our next parameter, or our next variable we're assigning to, is health BG coords. We went over on how texture coordinates work in a sprite sheet or in a texture sheet back when we first declared our ammo BG coords, but I'll go over it again real quick. Now, texture coordinates is a struct that takes 4 variables, or has 4 variables in it. And the first one is U. U is basically the X coordinate of the top left corner of your image in Photoshop. And for me, mine is 121 pixels to the left, from the left. So that's my X edge of the left side. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my code and type in 121. Now, you can either have a V or a UL as long as you have both somewhere in here. It doesn't matter really the order of how you initialize these, as long as you have them all. UL is, you can think of as U length or X length or width. And so I know that the width of my HUD image is 80 pixels because I made it that way. So it starts at 121 and it's 80 pixels wide. So that's where the 80 comes from. And then so V. V is also Y. UV is synonymous with XY, except UV is how you denote screen space or 2D space or texture space, as opposed to Cartesian coordinates in the 3D place or 3D world space. So V or Y is 0 in my case because I start my HUD sprite at the very, very top of the image, so that's 0 pixels. Now for our next part, VL, that's our Y length or our height. And once again, my HUD icon is a square, and I know I made it with 80 by 80, so I'm going to go ahead and just type in 80 right here. And if you look at Photoshop, you'll see that my guideline at the bottom of this is 80, so everything matches. We'll go ahead and save. Now, there's one last thing we need to do, and that's to tell our, well, that's actually one more thing we're going to do after this. But, tell our variable HTHUD to be true. Otherwise, we won't be drawing our HUD, or our health display. Now, even though we initialize this, we haven't actually implemented HTHUD yet. So we have to go ahead and tell our HUD to now draw our health using our function that we just created. So in order to do that, let's go back to draw a living HUD, because we only want to draw it when we're alive. It would make no sense to draw it when you're dead, because it's obvious that you have no health. Otherwise, you wouldn't be dead, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do another if statement here, just like bShowAmmo, and go bShow. I want to keep my format the same. bShowHealth, and I'm going to go ahead and make some brackets here, new code block, and I'm just going to run our function DisplayHealth. And DisplayHealth takes no arguments because we didn't make it take any. So that's how we call our DisplayHealth function. And so it'll only be ran if showHealth is true. So our user can customize, or if we allow them to customize, or if we ever need to toggle it out for some reason, say if we want to switch these out when we're in cinematic mode, but still want to draw some parts of our HUD, we can do some custom things there and just change this to false at runtime. Or if we hook this up to a config variable, we can have the end user toggle if they want to show health or ammo or whatever. So, and doing things like this, say if you want to add a realistic mode to your game, or say if you're just doing a generic FPS but you want to have a no HUD mode, you can go ahead and make your game info tell your HUD class to change all these variables to false, and nobody will have their HUD. So that's an easy way to do that. Or you can just say show HUD false. That's probably a different one. But say if you need some parts of your HUD, these are a way to control independent parts of your HUD. Alright, so let's go ahead and compile our code. And it's going to compile just fine, right? Yep, 0 errors, 0 warnings. Very nice, very nice. Alright, so we'll go ahead and click launch. And let's see what happens. And there's my HUD. And you will see that it is drawing some crazy weird thing going on there. And that's because I used the wrong X coordinate. So let's go ahead and fix that, because I don't like that. Let me just double check my X coordinate here. It is 131. And let's go back to the code. I used 121, so that was why that was doing that. I'll go ahead and recompile this. See, a lot of HUD stuff just is a matter of tweaking your variables over and over and over again. So once you basically implement your HUD, then it's nice to have somebody else make it look pretty for you. So there's our health, and our health icon is really, really small compared to our ammo icon, but that's just because that's just the way I texture it. Now we can we can set up scaling, but I'm not going to do that because that's something you should be able to do by now on your own. Following the how we scale text, just go ahead and scale the widget the same way. Not that hard. Now, let's go ahead and see if this works. We can't tell this works on our own. So let's go ahead and click this, and let's host a server. Now, notice I'm running at 640 by 480 just because it makes loading up faster. But I realized for the sake of this tutorial, it's going to look kind of small on our screen, so we'll go ahead and run it at 1024 by 768 and click server with one client. That way it automatically loads my second client. So it's going to load my first instance, and the first instance is always a server because everything else needs to connect to it. And there we go. Higher resolution. It's pretty good. Our ammo still works. Very cool, very cool. And I'm going to Alt-Tab, drag this over here. And this is our client, and he's going to connect to the server. And as you can see, we're moving around. We can see each other. Very cool. We got our own little multiplayer game right now. Now, my weapon is set to do 25 damage for primary fire on a hit. So if I click while aiming at this guy, it should fire my M16, do the muzzle flash, show my dynamic light, and take away 25 health. And as we saw in the last few tutorials ago about how to fix the multiplayer HUD screen when we first did multiplayer testing, we were already able to kill each other with our guns. So that means the damage is being triggered. So if I shoot him, it should be able to update the HUD if our health is being propagated to our pawn class and it's being able to be drawn by our HUD. So let's go ahead and fire. Boom! And you will notice that on the other client to my left, you will see his health drop to 75. Very cool. So if I hit this again, he's dropped down to 50. Shoot him again, 25, just like you'd expect. And if I left click again, he's going to die. And because he's dead, he drops his gun, which we don't have coded yet to handle what happens when you run over your gun. And his HUD disappears because we are only drawing our HUD in our show living function. So that's how that works. And if we left click to spawn, there's our HUD again. We are back at 100, so we can go ahead and shoot each other a bit. I missed. Alright. Come on. Oh, that was the corpse. Ha! My bad. Alright, there we go. Now let's see if we can shoot each other. The health. Things will update. We're out good. And boom. Hey, fire. Oh, I'm out of ammo. Okay. Boom, he's dead. So now his HUD disappears. Go and respawn. Now, if you remember, I used right click to do like 10,000 damage or something crazy like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and I want to kill this guy first. Well, that's the corpse. There he is, the real guy. Eventually, I'll need to do animations. And two of those are corpses. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and right click and see what it does. And it should instantly kill him. Boom, yep, and the HUD disappears. We don't have to worry about any type of negative health thing if we go over damage, because if he's dead, we just don't draw it. And that's how that works. So he's dead, and our health class is working just fine. Alright, so go ahead and kill him again. Now we have a working health thing, so that's kind of a basis for a small game. If you can get some custom weapon code going on, I mean, you can already host your own server, and if you're using the robot character that ships with UDK, all the animations are there, so you can be running around just fine, and you can have your own little custom game already up and running with a small little HUD thing. But sure, we don't have ammo pickups, or what happens when someone drops your gun, you run over their gun. Yeah, we still have to do all that. I mean, we have to implement some more keyboard functionality, some UI, to have even a very, very basic game. But it is playable, so that's very cool. Now, in this next tutorial, I'm going to go over how to do some different HUD stuff. Like, actually, I'm not really sure what I have planned at this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and say thank you for watching this. And oh, another thing, I started having this page on my site. It's entitled the People Are Awesome page, and this is because I'm starting to get to the point where I want to do higher quality tutorials, maybe even DVD quality. In order to do that, I need I'm kind of poor. I'm a college student, right? So if you have any money, $1, $2, and you enjoy this video and you're liking this series so far, please donate. It's really easy. Click donate, and it sends you to a PayPal page. You can do all that. You can type in your own donation amount. You don't have to. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying it'd be nice. And if you do donate, you'll be listed on the People Who Are Awesome page. And you can just tell me a link to link your name and a link to tell us where you're from, where you're at, and you'll be listed on the page. hey, any type of donation, I don't even care how much, as long as it's at least 44 cents. Because if you donate less than 44 cents, PayPal will eat your money, and I will get nothing, and it's kind of bad, right? So as long as it's at least 44 cents, I will put you up on this page, and that's the cheapest advertising you can get. And I'll show you how many hits I get from my site. So I've gotten 3,701 visits in the last month. Let's go ahead and view my report. There we go. 227 visits was for March 26th. And this is kind of how the visitor graph. This is when I started posting tutorials. So you can see there's quite a few visitors. And here's my page view count. So yeah, you'll get some views if you donate $1 or $2 posting on the site. People do check out my site a little bit. So yeah, I think it might be worth it. But once again, that's totally up to you. And that's my Facebook page. You don't want to see that. Alright, so I'm not going to be saying this every tutorial. I know this is kind of a bad thing to include at the end of the tutorial like this, but I would really like a better microphone so I can help you guys better, so I can have better audio quality, so it's easier to, say what I'm doing and do what I say. Alright, so that's just throwing it out there. And I'll see you around, and hopefully I will be adding more tutorials to this and getting your game more and more advanced as we go along. Thank you for your time, and this is Michael Allar. See you at the next tutorial.